What if the very unease you feel right now, the restlessness, the tension, the sense that something is pulling at the edges of your life isn't a problem at all, but the signal that your reality is preparing to shift? What if the heaviness that sometimes sits in your chest isn't you being stuck, but the universe tugging you toward a frequency you haven't yet fully embodied? Pause for a moment and really let that land. You've been taught to see discomfort as an enemy, as a sign that you're off course, that you've fallen behind, that you're not doing enough. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if discomfort is evidence that you are brushing against the membrane of a new dimension of your life just before it opens? Every threshold has a tremor. Every leap has a moment where the ground feels unsteady. And every time you expand into higher awareness, your body, your emotions, even your thoughts begin to vibrate differently. That vibration doesn't always feel like peace at first. Sometimes, it feels like chaos. But chaos is not collapse. Chaos is reorganization. Imagine for a moment, you are standing inside a cocoon. The old structures are dissolving, and the new form is not yet visible. To the caterpillar, it must feel like disintegration. But to the butterfly, it is pure becoming. And here's the truth. The strange, in-between sensations you've been feeling are not signs of failure. They are proof that your quantum field is alive with possibility. They are markers that your soul is recalibrating to a higher frequency. So what if? The sleepless nights, the spiraling questions, the sense of urgency in your chest were not evidence that you are broken, but whispers that your timeline is stretching, rewiring, preparing to jump? Can you feel how different that perspective is? Instead of fighting against your experience, you begin to see it as an invitation. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you start to wonder, what new version of me is trying to emerge? That shift changes everything, because when you stop resisting your sensations, when you lean into them with curiosity instead of fear, you attune to the very frequency that carries you across the threshold. So, let's explore together. Let's peel back the veil between the personal and the quantum. Let's look at your experience not as a flaw, but as a doorway into the deeper laws of reality, laws that show you how consciousness and energy weave the timeline you walk upon. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are on the brink of entangling with a frequency so new, so luminous, that your old self cannot yet comprehend it. What if the only thing required of you right now is to trust that the unease you feel is the tremor before your leap? Take a breath with me. Feel into the possibility. Because as we move forward in this journey together, you'll begin to see how your discomfort is not a curse, it's the calling card of your next quantum timeline. And once you tune into that truth, your frequency shifts. Instantly, there's a wordless space you've been walking through lately. A threshold that feels both empty and full at the same time. If you try to define it in the language of the everyday mind, it slips through your fingers. That's because it isn't an ordinary moment, it's an energetic passage. I call this place the in-between. Some call it the void. Others know it as the pause between chapters, the strange silence before the music shifts key. Whatever name you choose, it holds the same essence. You are no longer who you were, and not yet who you are becoming. And that space, though unsettling, is sacred. Think about it. Every great transformation carries this liminal moment. The seed rests in darkness before the sprout breaks the soil. The dawn waits on the horizon while the night is still thick. The inhale suspends in the lungs before the exhale releases. You are inside that sacred suspension. The mind doesn't always like it. It wants clarity, answers, labels, destinations. It wants to check boxes and measure progress. But the soul doesn't grow in linear steps. The soul grows in expansions. And those expansions require an interlude, an energetic in-between, where the old dissolves and the new is not yet visible. So, if you've been feeling lost, if you've been questioning who you are, if the things that used to excite you suddenly feel empty, it is not because you've failed. It is because your frequency is outgrowing the old structures, and the new ones have not yet crystallized. This is the in-between. It feels like walking through fog. You can't quite see the road ahead, and yet something compels you to keep moving. It feels like wearing clothes that don't fit anymore, tight in places, loose in others, reminding you with every step that you're outgrowing them. It feels like the silence after a door closes but before another one opens. Uncertainty, ambiguity, discomfort. And yet, Hidden inside all of these sensations is a current of power. The in-between is not empty. It is charged. It hums with the frequency of becoming. It is a womb of possibility, holding every potential version of you until the one aligned with your soul steps forward. Think about the caterpillar inside its cocoon again. From the outside, it looks still, inactive, maybe even lifeless. But within, an entire revolution is happening. The old form is dissolving into imaginal cells, and those cells are orchestrating a transformation so radical that nothing of the caterpillar will remain. This is what your soul is doing, and like the caterpillar, you may not have words for it yet. You may only have feelings, restlessness, confusion, a strange longing for something you can't name, and maybe even grief, as the old parts of you release and make space for what's to come. This grief is not failure. It is not regression. It is the echo of a timeline closing. The in-between has its own language, its own codes, and once you recognize them, you stop judging yourself for not having it all together. You stop punishing yourself for not knowing what's next. Instead, you begin to see yourself as standing inside a sacred corridor of transformation. This is why giving your experience a name matters. Because when you can name it the in-between, you stop believing it's chaos. You stop believing it's personal. You realize it's archetypal, universal, a rite of passage woven into the very fabric of awakening. And here is the gift. Once you recognize the in-between, you can breathe differently inside it. You no longer rush to escape it. You allow it to do its work on you. You give yourself permission to soften into it, trusting that just as dawn follows night, the new version of you is inevitable. Naming is claiming. When you call this place the in-between, you take back your power. You shift from "I'm lost" into "I'm in the passage." You move from "I don't know what's happening" into "I'm being rewired." You cross from despair into reverence. And that shift changes everything. Because when you know where you are, you stop fighting against it. You lean in. You listen more deeply. You hear the whispers of your own soul guiding you, even in the silence. So, remember this. You are not broken. You are in the in-between. You are not failing. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are exactly on time. The in-between is not a punishment. It is initiation. And once you see it as such, you begin to realize that this corridor you are walking through is the very bridge into your higher timeline, the very space where quantum entanglement begins to weave, the very moment where your frequency, unsettled as it may feel, is aligning with the new. So, take a breath. Say it softly to yourself. I am in the in-between. Feel the power of those words, because naming the passage is the first step in crossing it. Now that you've named the experience as the in-between, let's open a door into the quantum realm and bring in a metaphor that mirrors exactly what you're living through. In quantum physics, there is a principle called superposition. Superposition describes the way a particle exists in multiple states at once until it is observed. A quantum particle is not just here or there. It is here and there. Not just one path, but all paths. Not just one outcome, but every possible outcome, alive in the field, waiting for observation to collapse it into one. And isn't that exactly what the in-between feels like? You are no longer the old version of yourself, but you haven't yet collapsed into the new. You are holding multiple potentials at once, multiple timelines, multiple frequencies. Your identity, your choices, your desires, they're not fixed. They're alive in superposition. This is why it feels so unstable. Because you are literally standing inside a field of infinite possibility. Think about this. When you are in the in-between, your life is not empty at all. It is teeming with unexpressed futures. Futures where you step into your higher calling. Futures where you open into deeper love. Futures where abundance flows with ease. Futures where you awaken to a level of peace you've never known. All of those are present, all at once. Superposition is a shimmering potentiality, and your consciousness is the observer. Your attention, your belief, your willingness to lean into the new, these are the lenses that collapse the wave into a particle, the possibility into reality. This is why your unease is sacred. It's the body's way of telling you, you're about to choose. But notice this superposition doesn't feel like clarity. It feels like ambiguity. It feels like holding contradictions. One part of you wants to leap forward, while another wants to cling to the familiar. One part of you is exhilarated, another terrified. One moment you're full of hope, the next filled with doubt. And this is not failure, it's physics. Because superposition always feels like paradox. When you understand this, something powerful shifts. You stop making the paradox wrong. You stop thinking you're inconsistent or confused. You realize that your soul is simply dancing in the field of infinite futures, exploring the full spectrum of possibility before you decide which timeline to entangle with. It's like standing in front of a vast cosmic mirror, each reflection showing you a different version of yourself. Some reflections feel aligned, others feel heavy. Some ignite your heart, others weigh you down. But all of them are possibilities. And you, through your focus, through your inner frequency, decide which one becomes real. Superposition teaches us that your uncertainty is not evidence of weakness. It is evidence of vastness. You are vast. You are multidimensional. You are carrying infinite potentials in your field right now. So when you feel restless, when you can't decide, when your mind says, "Why don't I know yet?" remember, you are in superposition. You are holding more than one reality at once. The key is not to rush to collapse it prematurely. The key is to honor the paradox until your frequency naturally chooses the reflection that matches your soul's resonance. Think about how liberating this island. Instead of beating yourself up for being undecided, you begin to marvel at the richness of your field. Instead of fearing that you've lost direction, you start to see that you're standing at the quantum buffet of timelines, and your consciousness is slowly tuning itself toward the highest expression. This is why patience is not passive, it is active alignment. Because when you hold the paradox with reverence, you allow your field to harmonize. You allow your future to reveal itself through resonance, not through force. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you understand superposition as a metaphor for your experience, the discomfort softens. Because you realize, oh, this is exactly what it feels like to stand in possibility. It's not that you're broken, it's that you're vast. The quantum field doesn't see your confusion as a problem. It sees it as richness. It sees it as proof that you are alive in potential. So, breathe into that. Breathe into the truth that your uncertainty is sacred. Breathe into the paradox that what feels like chaos is actually the shimmering of infinite futures. And as you breathe, notice how your energy shifts. Notice how the judgment dissolves. Notice how the in-between no longer feels like a prison, but like a palace of mirrors, each one reflecting a possible you. You don't need to know which one is yours just yet. You only need to remember that all are available, and that when the time comes, your resonance will collapse the wave into the reality you are meant to live. Until then, you are superposition. You are infinite. You are becoming. Now that you see how your experience mirrors the principle of superposition, let's bring the meaning home. Because here's the truth. The discomfort you've been carrying is not a sign of regression, it's the unmistakable pulse of growth. Pause here. Let that settle in. So often, when the body feels unsettled, when the emotions run high, when the mind grows restless, we jump to the conclusion that something is wrong. We label it as a setback, a failure, or proof that we're not aligned. But that interpretation is not truth, it's conditioning. The deeper truth is this. The tension you feel is the stretch of your old self dissolving so the new self can anchor. You are not falling apart. You are being stretched into expansion. You are not regressing. You are reconfiguring. Think of it like this. When a seed cracks open, it could look like destruction. The shell breaks. The old form is lost. But what's actually happening? Life is bursting forth. Growth is happening. The cracking is evidence of evolution. Your discomfort is the cracking of the seed. The unease in your chest, the doubt in your mind, the urgency in your body, these are not mistakes. They are the tremors of transformation, the quantum contractions that precede birth. Just like labor pains, they are not punishments. They are proof that something new is crowning into being. One powerful sentence captures this truth. Discomfort is evidence of becoming. Say it with me softly. Discomfort is evidence of becoming. When you claim this reframe, you stop resisting your own growth. You stop running from the sensations, and instead, you begin to recognize them as signposts. They no longer feel like obstacles, you start to see them as confirmations. Imagine walking through a corridor of flickering lights. At first, you might think the flicker means the system is failing. But what if, instead, the flicker means the wiring is being upgraded? The current is shifting. The old circuit can't carry the voltage of the new frequency, so it flickers as it integrates. That's what's happening inside you. Your nervous system is flickering, not because you're weak, but because you are recalibrating to carry a higher current of light, a higher resonance of truth. And yes, it feels intense. But intensity is not danger. Intensity is expansion. Think of the Earth itself. When tectonic plates shift, we feel earthquakes. But those earthquakes are not proof that the planet is dying, they are proof that the planet is alive, dynamic, and continually reshaping itself. Your inner earthquakes are the same. So what if, instead of fearing them, you began to bow to them? What if, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you whispered, "Thank you for showing me I'm evolving." Feel the difference in that posture. One contracts, the other expands. One resists, the other receives. This reframe doesn't just change how you interpret your discomfort, it changes how you carry it. Because once you see it as proof of growth, it stops being a weight. It starts being fuel. And here's the paradox. When you stop resisting discomfort, it loosens. When you stop fighting the contractions, the birth process flows more smoothly. Resistance amplifies pain, acceptance transmutes it. So let's reframe the entire narrative you've been living inside. Restlessness is not restlessness, it's expansion, looking for expression. Doubt is not doubt, it's your old identity trembling as the new one arrives. Confusion is not confusion, it's the spaciousness that precedes clarity. Tension is not tension, it's the stretch of your frequency tuning higher. This is the alchemy of awakening. To take what once looked like breakdown and recognize it as breakthrough. You are not unraveling, you are rewiring. You are not falling, you are unfolding. You are not lost, you are luminous potential, waiting to collapse into form. And this is the moment your entire life changes. Because the story you tell about your experience is the lens that collapses your quantum state. If you tell yourself, "I'm stuck, I'm broken, I'm failing," then that becomes the timeline you reinforce. But if you tell yourself, "I'm expanding, I'm transforming, I'm in the in-between," then you entangle with the higher frequency version of yourself. The reframe is the portal. So let this truth become your mantra. Every tremor is transformation. Every crack is creation. Every discomfort is becoming. Say it again, out loud, in your own voice. Because when you hear yourself speak this truth, your cells listen, your nervous system listens, the quantum field listens, and the field responds. Because the universe doesn't respond to your surface words, it responds to the frequency beneath them. When you shift the meaning you give to your experience, you shift the resonance of your entire field. And that resonance is what draws your new timeline closer. So as you walk through the in-between, remember this reframe. Discomfort is not the enemy, it is the compass. The shakiness you feel is not weakness, it's the signature of quantum reorganization. The more you see it this way, the faster you align with the reality that's waiting for you. Now that you've reframed your discomfort as evidence of becoming, the question arises, how do you move through it? How do you carry yourself inside the in-between without collapsing into fear, or rushing to escape, or forcing the new to arrive before it's ready? The answer is not to push harder, not to fix yourself, not to demand certainty where none yet exists. The answer is softer, subtler, yet far more powerful. You are being invited to attune. Think of yourself as an instrument. When an instrument is out of tune, it doesn't need to be smashed or rebuilt, it simply needs to be tuned, gently, string by string, note by note, until harmony is restored. You are no different. Your body, your mind, your energy field, they are not broken. They are simply tuning themselves to carry a higher frequency. And you can support this process, not by force, but by presence. So, breathe. Really breathe. Slow, intentional, spacious breaths. Feel how the inhale expands you, how the exhale releases what no longer serves you. With every breath, you're reminding your body that it's safe to open, safe to stretch, safe to recalibrate. Notice the sensations as they arise. Instead of fighting them, witness them. If your chest feels tight, place your hand there and simply say, "I see you. I allow you." If your thoughts spiral into uncertainty, instead of resisting, whisper, "I witness you. I choose stillness beneath you." Bite. When you witness rather than wrestle, your energy shifts. Allow. That's the key. Allow the sensations, the questions, the ambiguity. Let them be currents in the river, knowing you are the river itself. They pass, they move, they do not define you. Soft guidance is not about changing what you feel, it's about changing your posture toward what you feel. Instead of bracing, soften. Instead of fixing, attune. Instead of forcing, harmonize. You don't need to figure it all out right now. In fact, trying to figure everything out is what keeps you trapped in the loop of confusion. What if, instead, you gave yourself permission not to know, and let the clarity arrive in its own timing? Because clarity doesn't come from forcing answers. It comes from quieting enough to hear the whisper of the new. Imagine yourself as a radio tuning dial. If you force the dial harshly, you skip stations, distort signals, create static. But if you move slowly, gently, patiently, the right frequency reveals itself, clear and resonant. Your soul works the same way. So here are some soft practices to anchor you through the in-between. Breathe with awareness. Each inhale is an invitation, each exhale a release. Let your breath become your anchor. Attune to silence. Even 5 minutes of stillness a day opens space for the higher timeline to whisper to you. Harmonize with nature. Step outside. Let your bare feet touch the ground. Feel the rhythm of Earth's heartbeat aligning you. Witness your inner weather. Don't suppress it, don't dramatize it, simply notice. Let sensations be clouds passing through your sky. Allow space. Release the urgency to fill every moment with answers. Let the void remain open, knowing it is fertile. These aren't tasks to check off, they are invitations to return to alignment. They aren't about doing it right. They're about creating the conditions for resonance to rise naturally. And here's the paradox. When you stop forcing your way into the future finds its way to you. Because the timeline you're stepping into is not out there, waiting for you to chase it. It's vibrating here and now, waiting for you to harmonize with it. When you breathe, attune, harmonize, witness, and allow, you become a clear channel for that timeline to entangle with your field. You don't manifest by force, you manifest by resonance. So let yourself soften. Imagine your nervous system as a harp being tuned by gentle hands. Each breath adjusts a string, each moment of stillness polishes a note, each gesture of allowance invites harmony. And as you do this, the noise quiets. The confusion loses its grip. The urgency dissolves. What remains is a deep, steady awareness. I am aligning. This is how you move through the in-between with grace. Not by rushing, not by pushing, but by surrendering into soft guidance. Because softness is not weakness, it is mastery. Think of water. Water is soft, yielding, gentle, and yet it shapes stone, carves canyons, sustains life. Your softness has that same power. So let this be your practice. Whenever the discomfort rises, soften instead of brace. Whenever the questions swirl, breathe instead of chase. Whenever the urgency shouts, allow instead of force. This is not passivity, it is alignment. This is not doing nothing, it is doing the most important thing. Tuning yourself to the frequency where your new timeline already exists. And as you live this way, you'll notice something miraculous. Your reality begins to shift, not through effort, but through resonance. Not through hustle, but through harmony. Not through fixing, but through allowing. Because once you are tuned, your frequency jumps instantly. We've explored the in-between as superposition, your soul holding infinite futures until the moment of resonance collapses them into form. Now, let's bring in another quantum metaphor to illuminate this sacred passage you're moving through. This time, let's talk about decoherence. In quantum physics, decoherence describes the process by which a particle once shimmering with infinite possibilities begins to align with one specific reality. It's the moment when the particle stops existing in every potential state and starts stabilizing into one path, one frequency, one form. At first, that may sound like loss. After all, going from infinite to one seems like limitation. But in truth, decoherence is not collapse, it's crystallization. It's the sacred settling of energy into a reality that can be lived, touched, experienced. And isn't that exactly what you are feeling inside the in-between? At times, it seems like parts of your old life are falling away, pieces scattering like fragments, relationships shifting, desires fading, old routines dissolving. You might even feel disoriented, like you're losing parts of yourself you once depended on. But what if this isn't loss? What if this is decoherence? What if all the scattering you're witnessing is your field aligning, pruning, choosing? What if the falling apart is simply the old timelines dissolving, so that the new one can stabilize into reality? Look closely, and you'll see the pattern. Some things are no longer resonant. Certain conversations, environments, or activities feel heavier than before. Old ambitions don't ignite you the way they once did. It's not that you're failing, it's that your field is decohering, moving out of resonance with those vibrations. Decoherence is not punishment, it's purification. Like a crystal forming in nature, your life is clarifying. The molecules arrange, the excess falls away, the structure sharpens, and just like the crystal, you emerge more coherent, more stable, more precise in your vibration. So, when you notice the unraveling, pause and ask, what is being purified here? Is it an old belief, finally dissolving because it cannot coexist with your higher frequency? Is it a relationship dynamic that no longer supports your expansion? Is it a dream you outgrew, making space for a new dream that resonates more deeply? Every unraveling is a refinement. Think of a prism. When white light passes through it, the spectrum splits into colors. To the eye, it looks like separation. But in truth, the light is not being destroyed, it's being clarified, revealed, expressed in a higher dimension. That's what decoherence does to your life. It takes the diffuse, unshaped energy of your infinite potentials and begins to refine them into a clear, luminous spectrum. The old blurs fall away so that the new can shine. And yes, this process can feel like instability, because as long as the wave hasn't fully collapsed, you feel the tug of multiple realities. One day, you're pulled toward expansion. The next, the old life tempts you back. One moment, you're certain. The next, you're trembling. But remember this, those tremors are not regression. They are evidence that decoherence is happening. Your field is stabilizing. Your frequency is sharpening. Your timeline is crystallizing. And here's the paradox. Decoherence doesn't happen by effort. Just like a crystal doesn't force itself to form, it emerges when the conditions are right. The temperature, the pressure, the environment when harmony is present, the structure appears. You are the same. Your task is not to force your new timeline into being. Your task is to create the conditions through breath, presence, stillness, attunement for the structure to emerge. When you live in resonance, coherence arrives naturally. This is why stillness is so powerful. In stillness, you're not scattering energy. You're allowing it to settle. You're letting the field clarify. And in that clarity, the higher timeline can crystallize. So, the next time you feel like your life is unraveling, remember decoherence. Remember that nothing real is being lost, only what cannot harmonize with your higher frequency is dissolving. You are not unraveling. You are crystallizing. Imagine standing in a river. At first, the water is murky, swirling with silt and debris. But as you stand still, the particles settle, and the water clears. That's decoherence, the settling of your field until clarity shines through. This is the moment you're in. The scattering is temporary. The crystallization is inevitable. And when it completes, your new timeline is not something you reach for, it's something you embody. Naturally, effortlessly, inevitably. So take comfort in this metaphor. Because once you see your unraveling not as loss but as decoherence, the fear dissolves. You realize that every piece falling away is making space for coherence, clarity, and alignment. And that's the path into your higher frequency. We've just explored decoherence as the settling of your field, the purification that clears the static so your new frequency can crystallize. Now let's take the next step, reframing what may feel like regression into a deeper truth. Because here's the paradox most people miss. What feels like going backward is often the strongest evidence you are leaping forward. Think about the moments when your old patterns resurface. Maybe doubts you thought you released come roaring back. Maybe habits you swore you had outgrown creep in at the edges. Maybe relationships or circumstances you thought you transcended suddenly reappear, almost taunting you. And your mind whispers, "See, you're not growing. You're slipping back." Action. But pause, breathe, look again. What if this isn't regression at all? What if it's integration? When an old pattern resurfaces, it's not because you failed. It's because your frequency has risen high enough to flush out the residue that was buried deeper. Like a river swelling with rain, the current is strong enough to bring debris to the surface, not to punish you, but to clear you. This is progress. The mind thinks progress means never circling back, never revisiting old wounds, never feeling discomfort again. But growth is spiral-shaped, not linear. Each time you return to a pattern, you meet it from a higher rung of the spiral. You're not in the same place, you're seeing it from above, with more awareness, more strength, more light. So the very fact that you can witness an old pattern now is proof of expansion. Before, you were inside it, unconscious. Now, you see it. And seeing is sovereignty. You are not regressing, you are reclaiming. It's like climbing a mountain trail. Sometimes the path loops around, and it looks like you're circling back toward where you started. But in truth, you're higher up the mountain. Your perspective is wider. The air is clearer. What looked like the same place is actually a higher vantage point. Your life works the same way. Every time you feel you've circled back, you are actually spiraling upward. Every time an old trigger reappears, it's not a setback, it's a final integration, a chance to embody the frequency you've been cultivating. This reframe is vital, because without it, you misinterpret your evolution. You call your progress failure. You label your upgrades as collapses. You shame yourself for the very signs that you're expanding. But once you see the truth, the whole story shifts. When doubt arises, it's not regression, it's your system recalibrating to a new truth. When fear whispers, it's not failure, it's the last echo of a frequency that no longer rules you. When grief surfaces, it's not weakness, it's the release of density making room for light. When confusion floods, it's not collapse, it's the dissolving of the old map so a new one can appear. Every tremor is proof of movement. Every resurfaced shadow is proof of deeper clearing. Every wobble is proof that your system is adjusting to hold more light than ever before. You are not regressing, you are refining. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated, hammered, cooled, and then reheated again. From the outside, it may look like the same process repeating, but each round makes the metal stronger, sharper, more resilient. The repetition is not regression, it's mastery. Your soul works the same way. Each wave of discomfort tempers you. Each cycle of release strengthens you. Each revisiting of the old clarifies who you are becoming. So the next time your mind says, "I'm going backward," place your hand on your heart and whisper the higher truth. I am spiraling upward. I am refining. I am integrating. This affirmation alone can dissolve the shame of not being there yet. It reclaims your power from the illusion of regression and anchors it in the truth of expansion. And notice how this changes your posture. Instead of panicking when discomfort returns, you soften into it. Instead of resisting the spiral, you lean into it. Instead of shaming yourself, you honor yourself. This is the maturity of awakening, the recognition that even the wobbles are holy. You are not meant to leap in a straight line. You are meant to spiral, weaving higher and higher, integrating every fragment until you stand whole. So reframe every perceived step backward as evidence of your ascension. Celebrate the resurfacing of shadows as proof of your light. Honor the moments of doubt as doorways to deeper trust. Because the truth is this: what feels like regression is the spiral of progress. And when you see it this way, your entire relationship with the in-between transforms. You no longer fear the wobble, you welcome it as a sign that you're refining, crystallizing, preparing for your leap. You are not slipping back into the old, you are gathering momentum toward the new. Now that you see every wobble not as regression but as refinement, the question becomes, how do you walk this spiral with grace? How do you meet the resurfacing of old patterns without falling into panic or force? The answer lies in learning not only what to do but also what not to do. Because so much of the suffering in the in-between doesn't come from the sensations themselves, it comes from how we respond to them. The mind tries to force, hustle, fix, but the soul whispers a softer way. Let's begin with what not to do. Do not force. Forcing is like trying to pry open a flower before it's ready to bloom. You damage the very thing you're trying to bring forth. Your transformation has its own timing, its own rhythm. Trust it. Do not hustle. Hustling in this space only scatters your energy. It's like thrashing in water, you tire yourself out and sink faster. The more you hustle to make progress, the further away resonance feels. Do not fix. You are not broken. You do not need to repair yourself. The in-between is not a flaw, it's a passage. Every attempt to fix yourself reinforces the illusion that something is wrong. So release the forcing, release the hustling, release the fixing. Instead, step into the gentle practices that allow your field to harmonize. Be still. Stillness is not emptiness, it's alignment. When you sit in stillness, you allow the static of your system to settle, just like sediment in water. Clarity arises not because you hunted for it, but because you gave it space to appear. Be present. Presence is power. When your mind spirals into, what if, or what's next, gently return to this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. Here, in presence, you find peace. Here, the quantum field can align around you. Be aligned. Alignment doesn't mean being perfect. It means choosing resonance. Choosing the thoughts, words, and actions that feel like truth in your body. Even small choices, resting when tired, drinking water with intention, speaking words that uplift, create coherence. Imagine yourself standing in a storm. The winds swirl, the sky darkens, the ground shakes. If you panic, you're thrown about. But if you anchor, if you root yourself, the storm passes and you remain steady. Stillness, presence, and alignment are your anchors in the storm. Let's make this practical. When fear rises, instead of battling it, place your hand on your heart and breathe. Feel the rhythm of your pulse, the proof that life moves through you. Whisper, I allow myself to be here. When urgency shouts, instead of obeying it, pause. Ask yourself, is this urgency truth or fear? If it's fear, choose stillness instead. Sit, breathe. Let the urgency dissolve in the quiet. When confusion swirls, instead of scrambling for answers, soften. Say, clarity comes when I'm ready to see. Until then, I trust the unfolding. Do you feel the shift? Each of these small gestures dissolves resistance. Each creates space for your field to settle, for your frequency to stabilize, for your new timeline to lock in. And remember, stillness does not mean inaction. Presence does not mean passivity. Alignment does not mean avoidance. They are active choices. They are the highest form of participation in your own becoming. Because when you choose stillness, you're declaring, I am more powerful than my fear. When you choose presence, you're declaring, I will not be pulled into illusions of past or future. When you choose alignment, you're declaring, I trust my soul's rhythm over the world's pressure. This is mastery. Think of a surfer waiting for the right wave. They don't thrash in panic. They don't chase every ripple. They sit in stillness, present, attuned, and when the wave comes, they rise in alignment, riding it with power. You are that surfer. The wave of your higher timeline is already forming. Your task is not to thrash, it's to attune, so that when the wave arrives, you rise with it. So let this be your practice. When fear arises, witness it. When urgency arises, pause. When confusion arises, soften. When stillness calls, honor it. When alignment whispers, follow it. Over and over, moment by moment. And as you do this, you will notice the miracle. The in-between no longer feels like a void. It feels like a temple, a sanctuary of becoming, a place where your higher timeline is quietly weaving itself around you. This is how you walk the spiral with grace. Not by force, not by hustle, not by fixing, but by stillness, presence, and alignment. And soon, you'll realize you are not waiting for your new frequency to arrive. You are already living inside it. You've walked through the in-between. You've breathed through the discomfort, reframed it as becoming, and allowed yourself to soften into stillness instead of forcing. And now, something extraordinary is happening whether you can see it or not. Your field is gathering momentum. What once felt like unraveling is revealing itself as acceleration. The tremors, the flickers, the wobbles, they are not signs that you are falling apart. They are the signatures of energy, charging, collecting, building toward a leap. Think of an arrow pulled back on a bowstring. To the eye, it looks like retreat, like backward motion. But that backward draw is the very source of power that will launch the arrow forward. The greater the pull, the farther the flight. Your discomfort is that bowstring. Your restlessness is that tension. What feels like being pulled backward is simply life preparing to catapult you forward. You are not unraveling. You are charging. You are gathering. You are rising. This is the paradox of awakening. The moments that feel most destabilizing are often the very moments you are closest to your leap. Can you feel it? That subtle hum beneath your skin? That quiet sense that something luminous is just around the corner? That's not imagination, that's resonance. That's your field aligning with the higher timeline already vibrating within you. And when it clicks, when resonance collapses into reality, the shift feels instantaneous. One moment, you're doubting, wavering, unsure. The next, clarity floods, synchronicities spark, doors open. Your frequency locks into place, and your reality reflects it with breathtaking speed. It may look like a miracle from the outside, but you'll know the truth. It was never sudden. It was building all along. Every contraction, every release, every moment of surrender was weaving this momentum. Like a wave gathering far out at sea, invisible to the shore, your shift has been forming beneath the surface. And when it arrives, it rises with unstoppable force. You are that wave. So stand tall in your becoming. Stand tall in your in-between. Stand tall in your discomfort, knowing it is the sound of your bowstring tightening, your wave gathering, your leap preparing. You are not fragile, you are fierce. You are not lost, you are luminous. You are not unraveling, you are becoming unstoppable. And here is the gift. The more you trust this process, the faster momentum builds. Doubt scatters energy. Trust gathers it. Resistance leaks power. Surrender concentrates it. Every moment you choose trust, presence, alignment, you add another layer of momentum to your leap, until suddenly, you find yourself not trying to leap, not forcing to leap, but being carried by the very current that was once unsettling you. This is your quantum moment, the moment where what once felt like chaos reveals itself as choreography, the moment where every wobble shows its purpose, the moment where the in-between you feared reveals itself as the runway for flight. Take a breath and feel it. You are not waiting for momentum. You are momentum. Your cells are vibrating faster. Your field is aligning clearer. Your soul is calling louder. Everything within you is gathering into coherence, preparing to catapult you into the frequency you've already chosen at the level of soul. And when that leap happens, when you entangle with your higher frequency, you won't just feel the shift inside, you'll see it outside. Conversations align. Opportunities appear. Synchronicities bloom. Reality bends to match the vibration you've embodied. This is not fantasy, it is physics. Consciousness collapses, waves into particles. Your resonance determines your reality. And right now, your resonance is charging for the leap. So let me tell you plainly, you are closer than you think. Closer to clarity, closer to alignment, closer to the timeline your soul has been whispering to you in dreams and quiet moments. Every flicker, every tremor, every moment of doubt has only been momentum gathering for this. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. Say it with me. I am not unraveling, I am gathering momentum. I feel the truth of those words resonate through your body. Feel how your field brightens when you affirm them. Feel the wave rise beneath you, carrying you toward the leap. Because this is not the end of your story, it is the ignition point. The moment you're in between transforms into acceleration. The moment you're unraveling reveals itself as unstoppable becoming. And soon, very soon, you will leap. Take one last deep breath with me. Let the air fill your lungs. Let it expand your chest. Let it ground you into this very moment. And as you exhale, know this truth. You've already stepped into the new frequency. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Every breath you've taken through this journey, every moment you softened instead of resisted, every time you chose presence over panic, that was the shift. That was the leap. You didn't just prepare for your higher timeline, you entangled with it. It's here. You are it. You are not waiting to become, you are becoming in real time. You are not reaching for light, you are radiating it. You are not searching for alignment, you are living inside it. Feel that. Anchor into it. Because this isn't a distant vision, it's your present reality. And yes, the world around you may still be catching up. The old structures may echo for a while, like shadows fading after sunset. But don't mistake the echo for the truth. The truth is, your frequency has already shifted. The rest of your reality will follow. You are in resonance now. You are coherent now. You are luminous now. And from this resonance, life meets you differently. Synchronicities multiply. Conversations deepen. Opportunities appear that feel effortless, almost as though they've been waiting for you. Because they have. They were always there, vibrating in your field. All it took was your leap into coherence for them to crystallize. So as you move forward, carry this mantra with you. I've already stepped into the new frequency. Repeat it in the quiet of the morning. Whisper it before sleep. Let it echo through your cells until your entire being vibrates in harmony with it. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. Every soul walking through the in-between is part of this great unfolding, this quantum awakening. We rise together. We leap together. We weave timelines together. So if these words have resonated with you, if you feel the truth of your own becoming stirring in your chest, I invite you to stay connected. There are deeper transmissions waiting for you, whether in the next video, in the free guide I've prepared for you, or in the community of luminous souls gathering in this space. Take whatever step feels aligned. Follow the resonance. Trust your timing, because this is just the beginning. The leap you've made today is the foundation of countless shifts yet to come. Each one easier, each one faster, each one brighter. You are no longer the one who doubts. You are the one who knows. You are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who embodies. You are no longer the one who wonders. You are the one who lives the truth. And the truth is simple, radiant, undeniable. You've already stepped into the new frequency. Welcome home.